Hi, and welcome to the SKYMO Question Corner. As you might imagine, we get a lot of inquiries from people, a lot of different questions, a lot of the same question. And in today's video, I want to go over some of those recent customer questions that have been submitted. So I have a few here that I want to go over, and we're going to have some fun today answering some of these and hopefully shedding some light on some of the most common things that people wonder about. So the first question I want to get to comes from an anonymous customer. He says, will it hurt the dash? And then we have a similar one here. If I scroll through here, I can find it. It says, is it hard to remove the mount if you buy a new car? Now, both of these questions are referring to the dashboard radio mount, and both great questions. These people are wanting to know, since that dashboard mount uses adhesive to stick to the dashboard in your car, once you go to remove it, first, how hard is it going to be to remove? And second, is it going to do any damage to the vehicle? So the first thing I'd point you to answer these two questions is the reviews on SKYMO.com. The dashboard mount is part number 20128A. So if you go and search for that, you'll be able to bring up the reviews. There's a little tab. Just go through there and kind of look through what people have said about it. And you're not really going to find reviews from people complaining that this was hard to remove or did any damage to their vehicle. I'd say that's probably the best source of information to answer this question, because those are people that have purchased this, they have experience with it, they're out there using it in the real world, separate from our test conditions. So the reviews on SKYMO.com are a great resource, and I'd say just judging based on those alone, that no, it's not going to hurt your dash, and then it's not going to be so challenging to remove that people are complaining about it when they go to remove it if they do get rid of that vehicle. That being said, I can also speak about it from my own perspective, which is that when we design new stuff, we're constantly putting them in vehicles and taking them out, and especially for the dashboard mount, we'll stick it to the dash in the test vehicle. We'll let it sit for a while, drive around for a while, let the adhesive cure, take it off, maybe put the next revision on, take it off. And I didn't see, when we were testing this, any damage to the vehicle's dash that would make me think, oh, this isn't a viable product. Now, I like to think of this dashboard mount as kind of a semi-permanent installation. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can remove it, but no, you shouldn't expect to be removing it frequently. So the dashboard mount is more intended to, once it's in place, you're kind of going to keep it in place until such time that you're done using it, if that makes sense. That being said, the latest revision of the dashboard mount does come in two pieces. So you'll have your bottom piece and your top piece, and there is a quick disconnect. So you just remove the bolt, and then the top piece that your radio is actually bolted to comes separate from the base. So if you do want to remove it from your vehicle, you want to remove your radio from your vehicle, you can do so. The base is just going to stay in place if you're doing that frequently. When it does come time for you to remove the entire system and remove the base, there are a few things that will help you do so. The first one is just heat. So if you have a heat gun, you can apply some to that double-sided tape, and that's going to kind of loosen up that adhesive a little bit and help you get it off the surface. The second thing, if there is any residual residue, or if you have a particularly tough spot, you can use some isopropyl alcohol or just a household cleaner, but the isopropyl alcohol is going to help break down that adhesive some while still being safe to put on surfaces like your dashboard. And then the third thing I want to talk about is just kind of a technique thing. So when you are going to remove this tape from whatever surface it's stuck to, I would recommend not pulling on it or scraping at it or anything like that. First, take your thumb and just kind of roll it like so. And then once you have a ball, you can just kind of roll it along. But essentially, instead of trying to scrape it off or anything like that, roll it into a ball, and it sticks to itself and tends to pull itself up off whatever surface it's stuck to. So that ball method is going to be really effective for removing this from your dash or whatever surface it is stuck to. So next we have another couple of questions that are similar again. So let's see, we have, will the radio mount for the 2023 Sierra with the full-length center console also fit the 2024 Sierra with the same style full-length center floor console? So that's one question. And then the next one is, I have a 2024 F-150 with a cup holder fold-up center console, but it doesn't match any of the three pictured. I bought this truck brand new and it's 100% original. Okay, so both of these questions are kind of getting at the same concept. I'm not going to answer about those particular model years and stuff. I just want to talk more about the fitment guidelines that we have on SKYMO.com, because both of these are kind of referencing vehicles that are outside of what we say they fit, and asking if the mount is going to fit something that's not listed, essentially. And this is a really great question. It's something that honestly comes up quite a lot, simply because the way that these manufacturers handle the interior configurations of their vehicles is not very black and white, in the sense that you get a lot of blurred lines when things are changing. So let's just take the change from the 2014 to 2018 Silverados and Sierras to the 2019 plus Silverados and Sierras. Now, on the surface, that's a pretty hard line, like there's a new generation in 2019. But if you look at the interior configurations on these vehicles, take, for example, the trucks that have the split bench seat, the 2014 to 2018 1500s had a cup holder configuration with 3 cup holders. In 2019, the 1500s went to a 2 cup holder configuration, like a totally different console. But the 2500s and the 3500s in 2019 retained the old style cup holders. It had the flip-up console from the previous generation. And it wasn't until 2020 that those 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks adopted that updated console style. So all that to say that I really do my best to research all these differences and the different exceptions and all this stuff, and to create product titles and product descriptions that are as descriptive as possible to make it very, very clear what things are going to fit. The easiest, by far, the easiest way to make sure that the product you buy is going to fit your vehicle is to look at the product photos. We'll always have product photos there that show exactly what we were working on and what the product fits. So if you come across a situation where you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, look at the product photos and compare it to your console, and just make sure that the cup holders match and everything looks the same. And in the case of these two questions that were asked here, I have to say, no, it's not going to fit, because we haven't either A, we haven't tested it on those vehicles, and that's why they're not listed, or B, we did test and they might look the same. But the thing with these radio mounts is that, take this one for example, you see there's no adjustability here. It has to sit on the console just right. I mean, we're talking just right. Otherwise, it's either going to be too tight or it's going to be too loose and it's going to rattle off. And so even if you have a slight difference in the style of console, it's not going to be that quality fit that you're looking for. So the lesson here, I guess, is look at the product photos, look at the description. There's always a fitment notes section, and then you can compare that to what you have in your vehicle, and hopefully that helps. Okay, so the next two questions are about the adjustable console radio mount. Now, these are all about different vehicles. So the first one is, will this work in a 2015 GMC Canyon? Now, the adjustable radio mount is part number 20117A. I just showed this one that is just a, static product. It has no adjustability in it. The adjustable mount, if you haven't seen it, imagine cutting this in half and then being able to adjust it back and forth. That is kind of what we're dealing with the adjustable mount, where you have the ability to clamp it down to various vehicles. So as long as there's space in the vehicle, it works on quite a lot of them. I would love to be able to call it universal, because that's such a nice, simple word. But that's not really true, so I really try not to use it, because there are vehicles where, for example, the cup holders might be really far back in the console, and if you tried to mount the adjustable mount in them, the seat, for example, would be interfering. So it's definitely not universal, but it does work in a lot of vehicles. Now, the 2015 Canyon has a perfect cup holder for the adjustable mount. So for that vehicle, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. Yes, it'll work. A lot of people are using this adjustable mount in the full-size trucks, and they'll have it so the radio is hanging off the passenger side of the console. It works great. And then similarly, we have someone else asking about right here, will the adjustable mount work in a 2019 Honda Odyssey or a 2020 Hyundai Elantra? For the 2019 Odyssey, I would say absolutely. The Odyssey from that model year has 2 cup holders right at the front, and then a big space right in front of that. That's going to be perfect, right? You can put your radio there, and it's just going to sit right in front of the dash, kind of. It's pretty ideal, actually. And then the Elantra, now the Elantra, unfortunately, is one of those that I was describing where the cup holders actually sit really far back. And unfortunately, with this style of radio mount, how it works is this is going to hook, this part is going to hook into, this isn't for an Elantra, I'm just using this as an example, but this part is going to hook into the cup holder. So you can imagine my hand's a cup holder, and then the radio sits, alongside the cup holder. And so if you have a seat there like the Elantra does from 2020, you're not going to have room for the radio to sit beside the cup holder. So unfortunately on vehicles like that, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs down on the Elantra, but a thumbs up on the Odyssey, so it'll work for one of your vehicles. All right, next question. Does the radio mounting bracket come with it? Also, fantastic question. This was about the adjustable mount, but this answer is going to apply to every mount we make. Now, what this person is referring to is this bracket right here. So you'll probably recognize this if you have a radio. It is the U-shaped bracket that most radios come with. It's provided by the manufacturer, so you can secure it to wherever you're going to secure it to. Now, our radio mounting kits look like this. This is what, just an example of a radio mount that we sell. This one actually fits 07 to 13 Silverados, one of the versions of the split bench seat in those trucks. And so some people kind of assume that this metal piece, sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus here. Some people kind of assume that this metal piece replaces your radio mounting bracket, or you somehow use this to secure the radio itself to this unit, and that's not how it works. These two pieces come with the kit. This we call the mount base, and this is the mounting plate. The mounting plate is what you secure your radio's mounting bracket to, like so. There is hardware included to run through here and secure your radio's bracket in place. Now, there's a few reasons that we don't include radio brackets. The first one is that most people already have it. Like, most radios come with a radio bracket. So if we added that to the kit, first it's going to add unnecessary cost because people just aren't going to need that part. Secondly, radios come in all different sizes. So here's an example of a smaller radio, and you can see compared to this, look, these are two completely different sized radio brackets that we have here. The top one is much, much smaller, the bottom one is much larger. So we would need some kind of adjustable radio bracket, which is fine, those do exist, but again, it's just not going to be necessary for most people. And then the third thing is just some styles of radios don't use that U-shape. They have different styles of brackets that are used to secure them to wherever you're mounting them to. So great question, fantastic question. Oh, I also want to mention that if you are curious what comes with the kit, on the product page on SKYMO.com, it's usually the second photo. So if you're scrolling through the photos, usually the second photo shows an itemized photo, basically. So it has everything laid out and you can see exactly what's included. There's also a tab, if you go down below the photo and the pricing and the add to cart button and everything, right below that there's a tab that says what's in the box. And that's going to be an itemized list of everything that's included down to the nuts and bolts and everything. So if you ever have any question in your mind about what you're getting, check out those two resources on the product page, and hopefully that clears things up. Okay, and then I have one more question to talk about. This is from David. Thank you for sending in a question, David. David says, do you sell CB radios? And as of right now, this is October 2025. No, we do not sell CB radios. The only thing we're selling right now is the radio mounts that are all made in-house here in Colorado. We make them and process them and box them up all right here. That is the only thing that we have. It's that radio mount product line. That being said, I do think the company could serve customers better by adding some additional things. We're probably not going to delve into radios and antennas, at least not right away, but I do want to start carrying some things like coax cables and maybe some antenna accessories, antenna mounts, things like that. So that's something we're looking into. I'm curious, if you've made it this far in the video and you're looking at radio mounts, what else do you need? What else are you looking for right now? What would be most helpful for you? And like I said, I think the company could serve people better by making sure that everything they need is kind of in one spot. So if you're installing the mobile radio, you just click, 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 click. Everything's gonna show up at your door. Hopefully it's really easy. So to answer your question, right now, no, we don't sell CV radios, but we are looking at expanding into some other types of products, especially as it relates to getting your antenna mounted, running your cabling and all that kind of thing. And those are all the questions I have for today. I do want to try to turn this into more of a series because I get a ton of questions from people, and I think it would be helpful to run through some of those questions periodically and help answer them for people. So if you have any questions that you want me to address in future videos, drop a comment and subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button and you'll see all the future videos that we're putting out. We are also doing a huge push over the next 12 to 14 months or so through 2026 to release a ton of new radio mounts. So if you want to stay up on all the progress on that and to make sure you're alerted when new things come out, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we release new videos about all that stuff. We'll be documenting the process and how everything. I'm really excited. It's gonna be fun. We have obviously a ton of requests from people for various vehicles, and I so badly want to meet that need for people. So yeah, subscribe, follow along, and thanks for watching this video. Like I said, if you do have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll address them in the next video, and we'll see you next time.